Dumelang, molweni, sanbonani, ralocha, absheni, ndimacheroni. Good morning and goeiemorgen. So many beautiful languages to celebrate this Heritage Day in South Africa, and their importance is not to be underestimated. Languages are an integral part of living heritage. They also form a crucial component in our indigenous knowledge systems, and they make sure that we can preserve and pass on to the next generation all the tradition, the norms, and the culture that we have in South Africa. So they're not, as I said earlier, to be underestimated. And I have two gentlemen with me here this morning who play quite an important role in making sure that we preserve and we promote our languages in South Africa. I'm joined from Timbila Poetry Project by Mr. Vonani Bila and Mr. Marhanele. He is very responsible for the first Xitsonga dictionary, a monolingual dictionary to be exact as well. We'll tell you what that is all about in just a moment. Mr. Bila, let me start with you. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Tell us a little bit about Timbila and what it does.
Well, Timbila, it's an initiative to promote writing, publishing, and the creative spirit generally in the country. We publish in all the languages. We run creative writing workshops. We have a newly established writers' residency in Ilim. It's a rural context. So our key objective is to promote writing in all its comprehensive forms.
Now, the part where you say you write in all the languages and you publish in all the languages, I want to zone in on that. We're finding that your Xitsonga, Venda, Xhosa, isiZulu, the languages that are not English and Afrikaans as official languages in South Africa, that they don't really have much of a market to play in. If you go to your retailers, they are the ones who will tell you we don't stock these books because, quote, there's no market. Is this true?
Well, it starts, I think, with the school system. If we don't take these languages seriously in the school, in the school system, clearly we can't expect the retailers to stock, books in our languages. And initially, we need to ask ourselves, what does liberation mean, if we don't have our own work written in our own languages, in our own stores? Particularly now we're talking about Black economic empowerment. The key component of Black economic empowerment should mean restoration of Black pride, and Black pride should be seen, particularly, represented in our stores. Unfortunately, you go to libraries, not only bookshops, even libraries. You don't have books in our languages. So there is something terribly wrong in the way we treat our own languages. I mean, you check government documents. Most of them are not available in our African languages. So we've got to search our deepest souls, and ask ourselves, do we really prioritize our languages? Do we care about our own languages? And for that reason, Timbila serves as a kind of, germinating point, germinating ground to ensure that our languages are kept alive.
I believe you were responsible for the publishing of Mr. Marhanele's dictionary in Xitsonga, the monolingual one. Speak to us about what it means when we say monolingual. It's not English to Xitsonga. It is Xitsonga to Xitsonga. Am I correct?
Yes, Xitsonga only.
Why is that important?
It's important, because, in the first instance, special recognition should be given to all African languages. That's why I attach significance to this.
Do you get a sense sometimes that this is a David versus Goliath battle? I mean, we're inundated with texts from westernized countries, be it in television, radio, in the songs that we consume, in the magazines, you name it. Western culture is dominating, and it's not just only in South Africa. It's at the world at large. Call it cultural imperialism, Coca-Colization of the cultures that we have there. Do you sometimes get the sense that this perhaps is a losing battle, or do you keep on persevering?
It isn't. Candidly speaking, as human beings, we're all engaged in a revolution of human concern. And one of the concerns is we must give special recognition to our languages. That's the reason behind the whole thing.
If you could say one message with regard to what we're talking to today. South Africans are at home. Most of them haven't gone to work. They're watching Morning Live. What is it that you would like to say to them this Heritage Day?
Well, on this Heritage Day, they must recognize that, this is their country. They must celebrate everything African about themselves. And language plays a very key function in determining their own identity. And for us, as writers, as publishers, we see, for instance, our own indigenous languages as, showing that kind of direction to where South Africa should go, and Africa general, and its place in the world in global politics and economics.
I like the part where you say where South Africa should go. Now, where can South Africans go to purchase some of the books that you have published?
Well, you talked about the bookstores that do not necessarily stock our own work in African languages. We have this book available from ourselves, Timbila. They can contact Timbila, at Timbila at telecoms.net, or they can call Timbila at 015-291-2088. It's available from us, but precisely we're going to launch it next month because this is just a dummy copy, a promotional copy for now.
It's still work in progress. What led to it? What was it about status quo that made you decide, you know what, I think I need to embark on this venture?
At a certain stage, I thought, our languages will slip into oblivion. And obviously, these languages will be oblivious of other dialectical impurities as well as Western languages. That's the main reason behind our yes.
How do we then enculturate, suppose, the mothers and the fathers and the caregivers to make sure that the next generation doesn't lose the languages that we have? Because the onus very much is on us. And yet you find that we hold in high regard those who speak the English language very well. They're seen as perhaps more intellectual, more intelligent. In fact, you're encouraged. As a little girl, I was encouraged, go and say something in English so the neighbors can know, as if it's something that's worthy of praise. How then do we begin to change the psyche of South Africans so that we, while at the same time recognize that English is a universal language and it should be learned, we also do hold dear our own indigenous languages? Where does that process begin?
Well, I think we need to learn from the Chinese. They've promoted green tea, something that we all have. We've got our aloe here. We've got to promote that which is ours. We've got to learn from from the East. We've got to learn from all sorts of cultures around the world. But precisely for me, it starts with us recognizing the value of education. If each and every household would have a library, for instance, we get children to read. We get the adults to read for children. If we do that and we prioritize public education, we make sure that in our languages, as much as we celebrate the importance of mathematics and science, we should also put a lot of value in humanities, in African languages particularly. So it starts with us. We need to see people who've got money set up bookshops as much as they set up taverns. So if we have that kind of concern for our own development, if we see language as instrumental for development and in development, then I think we'll be going somewhere. So my message to the children and the adults out there is to buy books in African languages, to buy books that are written by South Africans, is to buy books that celebrate Africa.
We'll have to leave it there. Mr. Bila, thank you so much. And Mr. Marhanele, I've thoroughly enjoyed that interview. So as you can see, not just a holiday today, we have a lot of introspection to do as a country and look at a lot of soul searching as to where we are and where we want to see ourselves in the future. A quick ad break. We'll be back with more in just a moment. Stay with us. Thank you.